there is a specific kind of person who, after a long drive, does not immediately go inside the house. The ignition shuts off, but they stay in the driveway for a minute or two. Their hands rest on the cold rim of a classic steering wheel, looking through the windshield at the dimming twilight, while the exhaust manifold quietly ticks down. This behavior is often seen in men, but these traits belong to anyone who uses a mechanical ritual to find peace. They are not hiding from life or running from responsibility. They are settling their minds in a rare pocket of analog silence before re-entering a hyper-connected world. This moment is worth examining because the old car was never really the point, and neither is the solitude. When someone becomes deeply attached to an old machine in an isolated space, a complex psychological pattern is happening underneath the surface that most people completely misread. Society labels it as stubbornness, nostalgia, or loneliness, assuming you are a relic who cannot let go of the past. But you are not trying to move backward. You are holding on to a specific mental framework that modern life quietly eliminated. The modern world rewards the fast, the hyper-available, and the disposable. Modern cars have mirrored this shift perfectly. They are no longer mechanical tools requiring human partnership. Instead, they are giant, connected iPads on wheels that remove friction. But in doing so, remove human agency, meaning they take away your power to control things yourself. You deeply distrust environments where everything is engineered to be effortless and superficial. You do not want to be a passive passenger. Instead, you trust things you can physically feel, things that respond honestly to your direct inputs, and things that do not pretend to be more complicated than they actually are. To understand why this boundary matters, look at how the brain navigates overstimulation through Attentional Restoration Theory. This is a framework developed by environmental psychologists Stephen and Rachel Kaplan at the University of Michigan. Their research explains that our minds possess a limited reservoir of directed attention used to navigate modern work and complex social hierarchies. When overused, it results in directed attention fatigue. In plain terms, it leaves us completely burnt out, anxious, and overwhelmed. Statistically, a modern professional shifts tasks every 3 minutes. This causes a high rate of cognitive fragmentation, or, in everyday language, the exhausting feeling that your brain is a web browser with 50 different tabs open at the same time. Compare that chaotic noise of endless digital notifications against the physical reality of a classic dashboard, where a slow, glowing orange needle sweeps steadily across a mechanical dial. The human nervous system responds completely differently to predictable physical systems than to chaotic social ones. In a quiet garage or on an isolated back road, your brain stops burning energy on social performance. The analog click of a physical switch, the sweep of a dial needle, and the steady rhythm of an engine block provide direct, honest feedback. The car doesn't require you to text back, interpret passive-aggressive comments, or adapt to social expectations. This structured solitude is a clinical necessity for a mental reset. It is a form of mechanical meditation that restores your internal locus of control, giving you back the deep feeling that you, not the world, are in charge of your own life before modern noise floods your mind. This dynamic reveals itself through several distinct, rare traits. Trait 1. High tolerance for invisible friction. While most people abandon a task, the second it stops being smooth, the old car lover possesses mechanical stoicism. You will spend 3 consecutive evenings in a cold garage tracking down a single, microscopic vacuum leak, causing a rough idle, or spend 4 hours extracting a rusted exhaust bolt. When a tool slips, bringing the sharp sting of a cold wrench against a raw, bleeding knuckle, or when you feel that sickening pit in your stomach as a rusted bolt turns too easily and snaps in half, an average person experiences an infuriating insult from the universe. You process it as an orderly puzzle. You don't panic when an unexpected crisis hits the household because you understand that durability is maintained through deliberate, uncomfortable labor. Trait 2. The radical rejection of superficial validation. Driving a 30-year-old vehicle detaches you from the loop of external status. You are entirely indifferent to peers who look at manual windows and conclude you are falling behind. Your sense of competence is entirely self-contained. There is an embedded irony here. You will happily drive a car worth less than the emotional value of the alternator you just installed yourself. Imagine an executive named David. David spent his morning negotiating a $10 million corporate merger in a tailored suit, yet he is spending his Friday night completely covered in grease. He is contentedly using a flashlight to hunt for a dropped 10 mm socket in the cramped engine bay of a 1994 station wagon. He experiences a quiet amusement when people see a liability under his hood, while he sees absolute predictable truth. Trait 3. The gift of structural observation. Because an older vehicle forces you to listen to the machinery, paying attention to subtle changes in engine pitch or slight vibrations, your mind becomes finely tuned to tracking patterns. This translates into a rare form of social intelligence. In group settings, you are rarely the loudest voice, but always the most observant. You read human behavior like a mechanical blueprint, ignoring superficial noise to focus entirely on the underlying structural reality. Trait 4. The paradox of mechanical fluency and emotional restraint. Here lies a profound contradiction. You are extraordinarily articulate when diagnosing a complex, invisible mechanical system, yet deeply restrained when verbalizing your own emotional state. If you are hurting, you will not vent on social media. Instead, you quietly step out to the garage, pick up a wrench, and spend hours changing a water pump, while the rhythmic, comforting clack of a socket wrench ratchets in the darkness. The machine becomes your vocabulary. It accepts your intense focus, labor, and frustration without judging you or demanding an explanation. Trait 5. Absolute practical self-reliance. There is a profound psychological difference between a person who relies entirely on external systems and someone who knows exactly how to sustain themselves. Your immediate internal instinct is always to figure it out alone. This hyper-independence produces a calm, unshakable confidence that consumerism cannot sell you. You carry the quiet assurance into every room you enter that if you are stranded on a pitch-black road at midnight, you have the diagnostic capability and tools to get yourself home safely. Trait 6. The parental blueprint and object constancy. The emotional attachment to old machinery almost always traces its roots back to childhood. In psychology, object constancy refers to the ability to maintain a stable emotional bond with an object or person across vast time and distance. Working on a legacy machine is often a subconscious bridge to a father, grandfather, or an early environment that required you to solve problems alone. By choosing a legacy machine over a modern appliance, you are keeping a traditional version of competence alive, one that believed in stewardship, durability, and taking care of what you own instead of throwing it away when it gets difficult. Trait 7. An unspoken language of protection. Operating with deep emotional restraint, you rarely use grand, poetic words to communicate care. Instead, your affection is entirely structural, expressed through preventative maintenance. You are the one who quietly checks tire pressures before a rainy drive, changes the oil on family vehicles without being asked, and listens for an uneven brake pad long before anyone else notices. Keeping a physical machine safe and reliable is your nonverbal manifestation of protection. Your silence is never a lack of emotion. It is simply the quiet weight of practical responsibility. But we must look at this behavior with absolute honesty, because a thin, dangerous line exists between finding peace and hiding from reality. You have to ask yourself a difficult question. Are you going out to the garage because working on that engine truly restores your mind, or because the physical machine is simply easier to handle than the emotional demands of the people waiting inside the house? Mechanical systems are safe precisely because they have no feelings. A cylinder head doesn't care if you lose your temper, and a stubborn alternator doesn't require an apology. True psychological resilience means recognizing when your love for solitude has crossed over from a healthy ritual into active, emotional avoidance. Solitude is powerful fuel when used to recharge, but it becomes a toxic isolating chamber when used as a shield against the relationships that actually require your presence. The goal is not to live in the garage, but to let the garage teach you how to live better inside the house. The individual who chooses old things and quiet places is not left behind by the world. They simply refuse to exchange depth for speed. So, the next time you see someone sitting in their car for those few extra minutes after the engine is turned off, leave them be. As the ignition key turns completely back to zero, they are letting their nervous system catch up to their body, watching the needles drop back to zero, and listening to the heat leave the metal. They are keeping an old engine running, but more importantly, they are keeping their own soul intact. If this perspective resonates with your routine, pay attention to that instinct. Do not rush out of the cabin the next time you park. Drop a comment below with the exact year and model of the car that serves as your quiet sanctuary, and tell me about one specific mechanical problem that forced you to sit in the quiet and figure it out alone. Let's build an honest record of the machines that keep us grounded.